Good morning and welcome everyone to another Telehealth Today meeting. I am James Hongs, the founder of Telehealth Today. Today is Monday, December 9th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. As always, we have a meeting. There are delays in the website. I feel like everybody kind of knows why. Just like everybody knew Harry Truman, they kind of know why. I'm doing the best I can. Um, but as always, I have a wonderful speaker for all you guys. And today she is going to help teach you guys about creative ways to make money, how to think outside the box, and some different tips and tricks that she's learned. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to my friend Chantel Tavares. Take it away. I hope I pronounced that right. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, James. And yes, the last one is correct, Tavares. So, hello everyone. I'm Chantel, Creative Money Coach. And part of the reason I chose Creative Money Coach as the title is because on top of being someone that's been involved with the money aspect from my history when I used to be involved in accounting to learning more about the money coaching aspect of the industry was also because I'm also creative. If any of you guys know me, then you might know some of my creative background. If not, I'm also involved in music, theater, film. So that's part of the reason that when it came to the money aspect, although I learned the normal ways of how to like look into money, the things that helped me more was thinking outside the box, especially going into my creative side. So one of the big things I would say that helps is looking outside the box into things that are unconventional, things that maybe you think because everyone automatically thinks, this industry is the most poor in the world, so you're not going to be able to get any money here. Versus, well, you don't know about the industry. You don't know anything about the money about this industry. So what makes you say this industry is really poor? Because let's take music, for instance. A lot of people will say a lot of beef on, oh yes, artists are always poor. But reality, if you guys know Whitney Houston, Beyonce, some of the big greats. Last I checked, they're not poor. Not only are they like big artists, but most of those guys are also big entrepreneurs, learning how not only to enjoy their passions, but figure out how to make their passions work and build money and their empires outside. So let's see. I feel the first thing like to help you with that is make sure you have some sort of good foundation. Now, the foundation, there's a few things you can think on this. One of the main key things would be is like your main budget. So knowing what money is coming into your accounts, whether it is from your 9 to 5 job, your business, your side hustles, but also seeing, okay, is there ways to adjust the foundation? Like maybe you're at a place that you hate and you just need to save some more money to work on a big project, and you're like, okay, as much as I don't love it, I can survive at least a couple months living with my folks or maybe staying on the couch with a friend and figure things out. But whatever it is that you feel is needed for the foundation, and the foundation, it's always changing because again, life changes. Change with work, change with any emergencies and so forth. So having the foundation, but also be flexible with it. From there, seeing what ways you can make adjustments. So, one example for me was I wanted to make additional money, but I also wanted to be more in a creative field. Um, the biggest change was back in 2020. I remember being a little stressed, well, beyond stress, especially when everyone's like turning their heads and like, okay, I'm sick. Either it's a normal cold or it's you know what, and having to like have a moment with the creator and be like, okay, I appreciate you giving me the jobs and stuff I have now, but I need some shifts. Like, can you help me out? And take a moment back, think, okay, I know I want to do more in creative stuff. What are my options? And it took a couple months, but I went from not having any options that were available, especially during that time, since a lot of people were pretty much huddled at home, to thankfully leaning towards the unconventional. In that case, while everyone's trying to focus on their 9 to 5 and the stress of life, I was staying in my niches with my groups. I was a part of several different acting groups that later led to me connecting with a few of my friends that were looking into like different immersion theaters. And then by November of that year, I finally got my foot in one of those companies that allow me an opportunity to one, grow as an actor so I can get more comfortable with improv stuff. Two, get to live a little bit more into a creative side that I've been wanting to do for a while, which I've always liked the idea of mysteries and detective stuff. I mean, if you have seen me with my folks, majority of times we're either watching Criminal Minds, CSI, and this specific role that I was doing, I got a chance to either play the villain or get a chance to play the detective. And on top of that, learning skills on intercommunication with different people, because this is not like being on top of the stage, but actually immersing with our audience. And of course, the bonus. I was getting paid to do this. Now, was it an easy process? I can't say it was easy, but it was exciting and fun one to learn from. And again, it wasn't the conventional, okay, I have to look at only the 9 to 5, the heavy hustle stuff. It was, okay, what's actually something that works with me? So if you're someone that likes to travel and want to explore more of the town, maybe for a time being, you might want to look into Uber. I mean, I had my period, and I will say I got a chance to learn things about my town that I didn't learn, that I didn't know of before. Now, would I recommend doing Uber all forever? You have to really look into a business plan on that one, but again, not saying that is impossible. Or maybe you're someone that wants to explore like doing stuff in food, but not sure of all the different varieties. Maybe you want to explore doing some of the food gigs, whether being a server or doing food deliveries and getting a chance to not only get paid doing that type of stuff, but learning and seeing how that can help you with your own plans. But again, the point of that is like leaning towards like something that's connected to you so you're able to not only make more money but also have fun in the process. So let's see. That was foundation, so make sure your finances are good and if anything needs to be adjusted, adjust. Secondly, lean to something that will help you not only financially but also um in your creative side because again, if you're just looking for something that will make you money, I mean, let's be real, there's a whole bunch of side hustles, a whole bunch of things you can do. But if you dislike the thing you're going to do, the only thing you'll get is money, but also a possibility of burnout. And I'm saying that seen from people that I've known, but also from personal experience. So definitely keep in mind when you're looking into stuff to like help you build your money, definitely look at all your options, but see what things can align with you and help you financially, but also align with you on spiritual and creative side. And lastly, the biggest thing which I have to keep reminding myself this is seeing it as a journey. So maybe you have a big long-term goal that's been on your heart for a while. Let's say you've been wanting to go from doing your business as a hobby to doing it full time. And it's been couple weeks, couple months, maybe a few years now, and there's frustrations. Even though it might not happen yet, the big reminder is this is a journey that you chose. If it's something that's still aligned with you, something that you truly want to do, so you can have that big financial growth, then keep in mind that this is just a part of the journey. And if you need to, you can take a step back, reevaluate, see if anything is out of alignment with your goals, whether on the financial stuff, whether with your creative side or anything else. Um, one good example I would say for me, um, I've always been looking into what best aligns with me on finances, but then the spiritual and creative side, I always have to keep in check because my background again was in finances in the beginning when I started my work career. And unfortunately that led to me not seeing like, okay, how can I do this, make the money and not completely burn out, which not always easy, but it is doable to like take that step back and see what can be improved. So right now with my journey, there's some financial growth that I'm working on to build towards some goals that I want to do, which includes a little bit more travel as well as some more growth in my own business journey, but also to make it more on the flexible side because I can have my moments where I'm in the flow of things, have my flexible schedule where right now I'm doing some more remote work, but I also do some physical stuff for my day job and my side gigs. But sometimes I will forget that, hey, this is all great and fun, but it's 6 days you just scheduled yourself for. You're scheduling a break, right? Right? And trying to remember that so one, taking care of myself, and two, I don't end up burning myself on that because if you're like trying to like, okay, I just need to focus and get all this money and get all this money, again, that can affect you long term if A, you're not resting, and B, your health starts to get affected. Because when it comes to money, there is like multiple factors. One of the things that I was reminded of over and over by a couple of my mentors is, of course, you want to have financial growth. You also want to have long-term physical growth, so making sure that you're taking care of yourself, and then your spiritual, and for those of us that are especially in creativity. So those would be, I would say, the key things when it comes to like financial growth. And I could probably dive more into this. I'm not sure how best to approach that, but James, do you have any questions?
I do, yeah. No, I want to connect some things, connect the dots on some things on what you were saying. So okay, so I have heard you were in the beginning you had talked about what industries have more money or not. And I have heard that like the financial industry is a much bigger industry than private investigating, like you had touched on, right? But
Mhm.
when you say, keep in mind you don't know everything about that industry, or if the industry has a lot of money, it's probably got a lot of people, so it'd be harder to get that money. So are you saying basically keep an open mind to any industry because you can get the money from it regardless? Is that kind of what you're saying?
I would say yes, because I mean, there are some industries where there's like the main roles or jobs that are available that people know of, but then there are some jobs that people might not be as familiar with. Because I remember back when I was focused primarily in accounting, I only knew about like, let's see, the tax and audit worlds, because those were the main two ones everyone always talked about, saying that you can only do those two things. But when I started to get involved with groups, which helped me to learn a lot more versus just going to school, I got to hear more about the branches and see like, oh, it's not just tax and audit. There's also the advisory side. There's forensic accounting, which I almost did go to because as people called it, it was kind of the sexy accounting side. But again, I didn't like really know about this stuff until I started like going to groups, asking questions, starting to meet people in all these different industries. And I mean, that's just on the financial industry. Same thing went with some of the other stuff like music. As you probably heard, most times when people think of the music industry, they think of the struggling artists. But I remember that year in 2020, I started to look up people that were professionals in the music industry and seeing like what exactly do they do to like really make money. Started learning about, okay, there's the live performances, but figuring out like, all right, how to build up live performances where you're actually making the money you want, or how to build up your online presence and utilize that to build the money you want. In some cases, how to work with people and companies that have the money and willing to pay you, whether it's creating a jingle for a commercial, which I've been hearing those since I was a kid, not realizing, oh, singers actually get paid for that type of stuff. And not like the small chunks, they get paid the big money for that stuff.
That's good. And you had touched in the beginning about the foundation. And I do think that's really important. And if you can find something that's connected to you or within your integrity, you're much better off. Can you touch a little bit more on, so when you say a foundation, is that like knowing who you are, what you want, how much resources you have? How does that look? Like, how do you set a foundation or
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. So, when I'm talking about foundation, I'm thinking on the budgeting side, but you did bring up some other good points about the physical and mental and who you are, which people don't always think about, but that is something to consider because one, when building your budget, this was something I was learning through some of my other financial groups that help with coaching. You can focus on, the bare bone of, all right, making sure your necessities are taken care of, but then also if you're able to put in your budget or figure out later on to put in your budget, things that maybe you want and maybe you don't see it as a need, but if you see it's helping you like mentally, then figure out how to like build your budget to have that in there. So if for example, maybe you're someone that likes to go outside in nature and do hikes, then having a budget to have like a picnic food or whatever you want to do for that, whether it's a weekly or bi-weekly thing, make sure it's in your budget and everything else is taken care of, but you still have the money and funds to do your nature thing, get replenished and feel like yourself. Or if you're someone that likes to do maybe some creative group stuff, like I know one of the things I'm trying to rebuild is doing more activities, whether it's escape rooms and so forth. I'm like, okay, well, there are ways to do that, whether figuring out the deals that they have at the events or Groupons, but just figuring out like, okay, how would I fit that in my budget so I can do that or just have funds for fun times with friends, but still, stick to my integrity of staying within what money is coming in and what money is coming out, being ideally equal, where you're like, all right, this is all the money I'm using, and anything left is either miscellaneous or you somehow got lucky and got some discounts and stuff.
okay, okay. Um, I did write something down I wanted to touch on because it was funny that you said it because I was just at a meeting a few weeks ago for like a warm line and they were, they teach people how to deal with crisis callers and stuff. But she said something about, this training is mandatory, this training is mandatory, and it's mandatory that you take breaks. It's like a must because of that burnout and that no, so that is an important part of planning. So from getting this conversation with you, it seems like you're really good at like creating a roadmap once you find what you want to do in keeping that job and keeping the ability to make money in the jobs that you have. And I think when you touched on talking to groups about what other jobs might be inside a job, that is really powerful. So might you have any other tricks or tips that have helped you kind of open your mind to what else is out there, find other resources out there? Like what else has worked for you?
So I would say like when it came to the music stuff, because that's something that's been my heart for a while, and I'm actually recently was able to push my budget to work where I can actually invest into that. Um, one of the things is definitely if you're questioning if this is a possibility to do your research and see what are the options available? So like with music, can musicians really make music? I remember when that question popped up and trying to figure that out, I was looking up Spotify podcasts, which led me to this one lady, what's her name? Kathy Keller, who at the time her podcast was primarily focused on helping singers. Now I think she switched to more creative entrepreneurs to build on their passions and build business plans and so forth. But I remember like when she was primarily focused on like singers and musicians, she had her podcast episode with guests who were also in either her industry or similar creative industries, explaining their processes, their stories, and it's like, okay, if all these people are going through this, then it must be a possibility. So definitely looking up people that have gone through it, whether through podcasts, books. I mean, I'm a huge bookworm, so that was definitely one of the first few things I found. And if you're able to look into certain groups, because I know as I was looking through different groups, one groups I found was through Kathy Keller's Facebook group and talking to individuals through that, and eventually staying in contact with a few people. And the biggest one I would say was Clubhouse. Now definitely figure out like which social media stuff will work for you. For me, Clubhouse just happened to be one of the ones that helped because it was 2021 when I started to look into that and started to find groups that are involved with the music industry, the theater industry, and I believe you know one of my mentors, Jane Nicole, actually.
I do. She's a part of the website as well. Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
So yes, that's actually how I met her and started to look into the theater stuff as well because she was at the time focused on helping those who want to get more involved in the theater and filming. So I'm like, okay, there are people and there are people who want to teach, so I'm going the right direction there.
Hmm. That's good. So what is this Clubhouse? I've actually not heard about this before.
So Clubhouse is an interactive app. It's kind of like if you were listening to Spotify, but there was different groups. There's the groups where the hosts are speaking with an individual or a panel, and you're able to message them questions. So there's more interaction. And then there's the more open groups where there might be a speaker or panel, but they're actually having people come up on the panel to verbally speak and ask questions, so you can actually interact with the people. Um, that one, I
Is
think
that
it started.
audio only?
Yes.
Okay, I think I have heard of it. Okay, but you're saying you get on there, you find people with similar interests, and you can ask some questions and learn a lot that way.
Yes. It's been interesting between some of the business groups I found and even some of the film groups where I've been in one where they actually had people chatting with people that were managers or agents and having people do auditions, giving feedback for those in the filming and theater industry. It was pretty cool.
That sounds cool. Yeah. Yeah, you're basically, yeah, you're finding similar type or interested people and taking notes from them. I think that's really wise because in a lot of situations, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And so if you're getting out there and meeting more people, there's you might be able to recruit more people to your goals and alignments and purposes. So that's good. Yeah. Um so all right. I asked this to most of my guests. I'm going to ask it to you. Let's just say the whole world is watching. Who is the person that needs to talk to you the most, and who can you help the most? Like, what describe, the age, sex, whatever of that person, what they're going through, and why they might need you, and how you might be able to help them.
Okay, so I would say people that are going through shifts in their lives, I will tend to lean towards those going through that quarter life crisis. Um, if you're going through the midlife, I mean, I might be able to help, but I will say I'm a little more familiar with the quarter life crisis.
I've never
Um,
even heard that term. Is that like you have three in your life? One at the quarter, one at the half, one at three quarters?
I haven't heard the three quarters one yet, but I've mainly been hearing because I always heard about the midlife crisis. The quarter life, I feel came around my generation when people are starting to question um the old style of like, all right, you go into college, you go into a job, you're in that job forever, and then nothing changes versus now things have changed so much and people are trying to figure out like, okay, this is not making any sense anymore. What exactly am I supposed to do for my life and what makes sense anymore?
Okay, so you're saying it's not the quarter life is not the dissatisfaction of repetition, but more the opposite.
So there is some of the repetition because again, for those in the quarter life crisis, they're not liking the repetitiveness of what people have been saying for like you need to just follow through this and things will be fine versus in their head they're thinking I'm doing everything you told me and I do not feel okay.
So that's what you were talking about too with the shift. Like, in other words, they thought it was going to be one thing, but as they continue on, they're seeing a pattern form that they're not really happy with.
Hmm.
Okay, okay. Um,
And
so go ahead.
especially those who either have started the creative work but are in standstill when it comes to the financial progress, and those who maybe do have a creative passion but they're having a hard time making the shift, whether it's through the budget or the shift to like add that creative side so they can be more fulfilled.
Okay. And if you would, give me an example of someone that's going through that quarter crisis. Like what
Uh,
might that look like?
so it might be someone who has been in their 9 to 5 job where they managed to, let's say, got involved with design stuff and it's in the professional field. And on one hand, they're making the funds, but they want to have more growth and they want to do something that's more aligned with them because they're just feeling unhappy with themselves. So if they want to figure out, all right, how can I make a shift to do more? Let's say they want to shift from the current design work they're doing to maybe more designs for homes in a creative sense that people hadn't thought of before and try to build either that side business or build that full time and see like, okay, what can I do to make the shift? Is there anything I can do financially to make the shift? Whether I need to invest in things to grow and so forth. Um, and I guess another example would be someone that is maybe considering making a shift altogether from like they've been involved with one industry and now they want to like completely make a 180 outside of that, but try to figure out, okay, what steps can I make now so I can actually, let's say they want to do a cruise work, whether they want to be a band entertainer or so forth, but they are like fish out of water, have no idea, and maybe they've been dabbling already into like, okay, there are options and ways, but what's the next step and what can I do financially to make it work?
Okay, and let me just clarify something. Is the quarter crisis is the shift itself the quarter crisis, or is the shift the pretense to it?
The shift would be, um, I guess, uh, Sorry, can you repeat the question? My brain went blank.
Yeah, no. So you mentioned the quarter crisis, and I'd actually never I've heard of midlife crisis, but I've never heard of quarter life crisis. Um, so my question is does is the shift that you make a result of having um the quarter life process, or is it or are the shifts like a pretense to the quarter life crisis?
Okay, so the shift would be after, because like when someone realizes that they're going through that, then they're realizing, okay, well, now I want to make this shift, but I'm not 100% sure how to make the shift.
Okay. Okay. So they have the crisis. They know something's wrong. They're ready to make the shift, but now they're like, how do I do it?
Hmm.
That's when they call Chantel.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Um, and how does that look? Like, let's say you got somebody that likes the field of work they're in, but not their job. Um, and they talk to you. How are you gonna I mean, you've already touched on it a little bit. You're gonna ground their foundation out with coaching, encourage them to talk to others. What else?
One of the things will be like if they already see like, all right, they know they want to work on shifting. So I guess relating to your example, maybe they like the industry but want to do a different role, like seeing, okay, do I need to get any certifications or get some experience in that role? Um, if there's any cost related to that, and whether A, they need to maybe adjust their budget so they can save to invest in the lessons they might have to take, or if maybe they have to shift their schedule where they can still get the finances they need, but still take time to gain the real life experience so they can be like, all right, I like this industry still, but I would like to request a vertical okay, I hope I got the lines right. Vertical? Yeah. Vertical shift to this industry. I've been working on this and this so far, and would like to propose suggestions. Now, this might be more on the business side, which again, definitely would consult if this is within the business, one of the business managers for suggestions on how to best approach it. They're able to help, or a coach if you're wanting to look into either a free coach through a score or invest in a coach that's a little more familiar with the industry. And again, that ties to the budget. Be able to put aside money to do all that.
Hmm. Very good. So you're kind of creating a full interactive um, plan on guiding people to find their passion in their work and have the
Hmm.
money to do so. That's good. That's good.
Yep, and as I remember from one of my peers in the financial coaching industry mentioned, the idea is to make a living budget, or well, I know they have a better word for it versus budget, but I'll stick to that since that's what people are familiar with. But a living budget where it's not like, all right, you are forever only allowed to have this amount of money for your food, this amount of money like this, and it's forever like this. It's supposed to be like, okay, no, you have a life. You might have some changes in your life. So here is like the bare minimum bone of what to expect, but maybe next month you know you're going to be out for a month or out for a few days or weeks for something. Be able to adjust things, but still keep like the basics that you know you definitely need to like stay consistent with and still be able to work towards your goal and fulfill yourself.
That makes sense. That's good. All right, and here's a question for you. What got you in this line of work? What made you want to help people make more money? Why, what's your passion behind this?
So my passion, I would say relates to my own journey because like I said, I started in the financial industry, but as I started to lean back into my crave stuff with music and theater, I started to see over and over when I was like getting back into it, doing auditions where a lot of people in like the musical theater industry, there was always the comments and the complaints of how I would love to do this and that, but I have to spend so much, let's say when I used to go to Disney auditions, I had to spend so much for the plane ticket, the hotel, and so forth, and no guarantee that even going to get this role I auditioned for. And it was frustrating to me where I was hearing this from many people, and I can't even kid you on this. I would see between 60 to over 200 people go for these auditions for a possibility to get one or two roles versus seeing, okay, this is an option. What other things can I do to like make my dream realistic and but also possible where you're not thinking it's too far away? Because that's that delicate balance I've seen where there is the dream aspect of it of okay, this is a dream, but then there's the all right, this is the reality of what I like overall and how to like mesh it together. And I know that was kind of my journey of figuring out like, okay, I want to have financial independence, but I also would like flexibility in my work and to do creative stuff I like, and also be able to help others on the way because the journey by myself, I remember first few years was tough. When I started to lean into my creative side, it got more exciting. It looked more realistic and it looked like a journey I actually want to do.
That's good. So that's good. So a lot of it is improving the odds. You felt the odds were kind of stacked against you. You took a long, hard road on how to improve the odds, and now you want to give that gift to other people. That's awesome. That's good. That's good. Um, I think that's about all I got. What give us some last words or to lead, if somebody out there, let's say there's somebody out there struggling with what you just described, um, what advice do you have for them on getting through their difficult time or challenges?
Let's see. I would say my advice is, well, one thing which I know was one of the biggest struggles I've had to adjust to myself was really listening to what I truly want and sticking with that. Um, because I know when I was looking to be an entrepreneur and looking into financial coaching, I was focused on the business aspect at first, but I realized it didn't really sound like something I truly wanted to do at first until I started to put myself into it, seeing like, okay, what would I want for myself financially and overall? And seeing, okay, I do want financial independence, but I want to see how exactly this works with my creative side. And on top of that, finding people that really align with that. Because I've been in different groups and some of them, although they were helpful, I realized later on part of the reason some stuff wasn't working for me was I didn't really click with what they were trying to teach. Because I know I've been through a few different groups where they had some ideas and although they sounded good, it just didn't line with what I wanted versus later on when I kept on like looking, then I started to meet people that were more aligned to me when it came to people that were more into the creative side of things with theater, film, um online entrepreneurship and seeing like okay, so there are people that are in these fields that manage to have a balance of doing what they love, actually find ways to make money and figure out the whole flexibility aspect without the burnout. So definitely like seeing what aligns with you and finding the right communities, because there are communities out there, but just try and make sure you find one that you actually connect with. And I would say a third thing would be being okay starting over at times. Because I remember initially looking into this back in 2015, and the first couple years thinking, okay, I know what I'm doing, I can figure all this out, and then falling on my face a couple times, realizing, oh, I still have a lot to learn here. I mean, I remember thinking, oh yes, I'm gonna be, and this is some stuff that I am actually still adjusting online where I'm like, I'm gonna be the millennial money coach. And I'm like, okay, years later, all right, I am a millennial money coach, but I'm not quite sure like I was going the right direction based off what I was learning at the time versus yeah, let me work with those who are creatives trying to build their stuff because I can actually relate to that. I'm actually working on that. So yeah, let's make a shift over there.
No, that's good. Yeah, no, I had a buddy, and he used to say, when looking at a job, look at three things. Number one, do you enjoy it? Number two, are you good at it? And three, does it pay well? And if you got two out of the three, he says you're doing pretty good. So that's good. Yeah, that's good. But no, so yeah, from the message you're saying, it's basically like stick with your passion. You can monetize it. Would be a good thing of advice I think you were saying there. And I love the advice of two, it's okay to start over. I think a lot of midlife crises and a lot of people, they're in a restaurant 10 years that hasn't been profitable the last two, and they're like, do I start over? And it's like, no, I've dedicated 10 years of my life to this, but in the end, they need to, because that's the only way to grow is to evolve and to change. And I've heard those stories before, so that's also a very good message. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. Anything you want to add before we go?
Aside from that, I mean, um, if any of you guys want to follow me later, I am on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram probably be the best one right now because my other ones need a little update. So there is Chantel Money Coach. And I mean, I definitely love to chat with anyone that wants to talk more. And if you want to hear more of what I do, then feel free to talk to me there. And hoping that this 2024 year ends on a high note and 2025 is even better.
That's awesome. That's great goals. So anyone watching, if you're out there and you know what your passion is, but it's not monetized to your liking, book with Chantel. Maybe she'll give you a creative idea on how to monetize your idea better. Um, it's going to be free on the new website. You'll be able to book with her on the website. Check out her Instagram. Thank you for being here, Chantel. Thank you all for watching, for being here as well, watching the replay wherever you are. And until next week, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.